today to discuss accelerating plans for a no-deal Brexit. Writing in today's Daily Express, Mr Barclay said a no-deal would be far more likely if MPs reject the Prime Minister's agreement in the delayed meaningful vote. Well, let's get more on this now with the Director of the Institute of Economic Affairs, Trade and Competition Unit, Shanker Singham. Shanker, lovely to see you. I mean, that's a statement of the blooming obvious from the Brexit Secretary, isn't it? If MPs vote against it, given that the only two options that we're being presented with are no deal or Theresa May's deal.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think what will happen if the MPs vote against the withdrawal agreement, and if they had done in the old vote, the vote should have happened in December, then it's not as if the EU and the UK will do nothing between now and March. I think what will actually happen, it will open up a possibility for a more political negotiation between now and March. And I actually think that even if they vote down the deal, an alternative withdrawal agreement is still possible.
On what basis? On what basis do you arrive at that?
Yeah, so what tends to happen when you negotiate with the EU, and I was on the US side of this for quite some time, is that at the end of the day, at the final hour, or even minute, or even second, deals get done. So, but obviously we don't control whether there's going to be a deal or not a deal. It depends on the EU side as much as it does on us. So we have to prepare for that eventuality. But that's been the case for a year and a half. I mean, there is always the possibility in any negotiation that there will be a no deal. So it's critically important that you prepare for it, because the better prepared you are, the more likely you are to get a good deal.
Do you think it was an abrogation of the responsibility then of this government that it is only latterly that we have begun no-deal preparations in earnest? I mean, we talked, the Chancellor talked about the port of Dover. He didn't even think that it could be sorted out within the two-year Article 50 period.
Yeah, I mean, I think that, first of all, I think the government has done more than perhaps has been evident to the public and in the media. And there was a very brave and anonymous civil servant who wrote this op-ed in the Telegraph recently saying that actually we've done a lot of preparation. People haven't been public about it. But you have to be public about it. You've got to tell people, not only because you've got to tell businesses what your no-deal preparation actually is. You've got to deal with things like customs and medicine and food and aviation, all of those things.
But you still think it is likelier than not that a deal will be
I still think we'll get a deal. I still think we'll get a deal. But, again, we don't control the EU side. We may put a very sensible, and this is true also, even if we do get a withdrawal agreement and we end up in a transition period and we're negotiating a free trade agreement, we may get no free trade agreement as well come December 2020. So we've got to be ready for that eventuality. And the more prepared we are, and the more prepared the EU realises that we are, the more likely we are to get a good deal.
Isn't it about time that all politicians started talking openly about the prospect of pausing or withdrawing Article 50?
Well, I wouldn't do that now, because the thing is, if you do that now when you haven't actually got further on into the process, then I think that becomes a signal to the other side that you're not ready, that you're a sign of weakness, and I think it guarantees a bad deal. But I think if we do have a vote down of the withdrawal agreement and we do move, say in February, March, you know, the people are looking down the barrel of a gun and the deals are being done, and you're starting to make progress, then I think if in March you say, well, you know, we need another 2 months, another 3 months, I think that's going to be very reasonable for all sides.
Well, we will see, and we'll see very shortly indeed, won't we? Shanker, many thanks for joining us this morning.
Great, thanks.
Still to come, we've got the sport with Jackie. What have you got?